Excellent. Thank you very much, Tom, for helping on making that film. Any questions here for Tom on reflection of what you've just seen? Dermot?
Antonia might just ask Tom, and
yeah.
given Tim's, he wants big, hairy ideas, no fear of failure, and I absolutely agree with that. It puts it so eloquently, as always. And I just want to ask Tom, what's his ambition for this? Is it for 1 year to have absolutely no cars in Eastbourne on that car-free day, not a single car around? Is that the ambition, or does it go beyond that? So I'm just wondering Tom has got many years ahead. Where do you see your final success, and what do you see your vision?
So I thought of obviously not just having 1 year for no cars on the road in Eastbourne. I want a kind of knock-on effect to people to think, why do we use the car? And how can we make a change instead of taking the car to the shop and taking a 5-minute drive, and by instead using the bike? I just want that, reminiscing of, what challenges and what people face. How can we change it?
Do we have Jonathan Dow in the room? Or do we have David Tutt? I'm not sure, because I can't see.
I don't think you could. If you can't see them, you can't.
I can't see them.
I'm here, Antonia.
Thank you. Oh, good. Thank you, David. What's your response to Tom, and in fact William's question to Tom?
Well, firstly, I think Tom's done some amazing things, and I'm very supportive of what he's been doing, and very, very happy to help him realise some of those ambitions. Certainly, we need better cycling infrastructure through the town. My vision is for integrated cycling routes, so it doesn't matter where you start, where you want to end up. You can cycle all the way without fear of being involved in potential collisions with heavy vehicles and traffic. And so there's a real challenge there, I think, for us together with East Sussex to deliver on. In terms of the future, yeah, we need to reduce the car usage. I was speaking to Tom recently, and I know the pandemic's had a big impact, but I've actually only put fuel in my car once since March. And nowadays I tend to walk just about everywhere, and you begin to wonder why you have the car in the first place.
So I think really, when we came to close the roads this year, it was actually quite a painful process, because a lot of people didn't understand it, and it was quite difficult to get Eastbourne to understand that we actually have a global problem with emissions here. What can we as adults and leaders, and particularly the Eastbourne Eco Action Group and the directors of that group and their transport group, do more to engage with young people? Because I think there's still a lot of learning to be had in Eastbourne about adults listening to children and actually enabling children and young people to take action.
I think you're right that there is, although I would say that I think Eastbourne's probably ahead of many places in having a community that really wants to make a difference and makes a change. And I'm so grateful to both William and Tim for their support for the ambitions of our community and our town. For me as a council leader, I think it's important that young people constantly challenge me, because it's so easy to get into the mindset of, oh no, we can't do it for this reason or that reason. To actually have the freedom of youth saying, well, why can't you and why don't you, is really inspiring and empowering.
Dermot, you've heard this before so many times, 25 years on. What do you think Tom could do that might be different to what you might have done aged 12 now? What would be the best way to use his energy to raise awareness as a young person?
I think one of the methods or approaches that I've discovered as an adult that would have been helpful 25 years ago is community organising. There's an organisation called Citizens UK that is sort of the home of community organising in Britain. It's an approach that originally comes from America, where they developed it in the 1930s and came over to Britain in about the 90s. And it's about looking. It starts from the questions of power. People need to analyse who has power to affect the change that we want. So Tom thinks about the change that he wants. How much power does he have to affect this change? Alone, very little. So first of all, it's about connecting with others to become more powerful. And often in a town like Eastbourne, that power will be located in civil society organisations, churches, faith organisations, schools, trade union branches, charities. So I suppose my thing would be trying to connect people within those groups, because then they can make joint demands and have a much better chance of holding the people with the power to affect change, the people on the council, the people who are, in leadership roles in big organisations. If people in civil society can link together, they stand a much better chance of holding those people to account, which is probably where the change really needs to happen. So community